What's going on, traders? Ralphdatrader here with GCB Trading. In this video, you guys, I'm going to review the two trades that I took this past week. One trade was on MYM, also known as US 30, and the other one was taken on MNQ, also known as the NASDAQ. Both of these trades were reversal trade setups because that is the setup that I'm hunting. I'm looking for reversal trade setups off of key levels, which are the previous day's high, previous day's low levels. And we know that there's only two setups, okay? We know that we're either going to have a buy low or sell high setup. So we're either going to have the buy low V bottom, or we're either going to have the sell high A top setup. And these are the setups that I'm looking for. So we can either have the trap and shift model, or I'm either looking for the dump coil pump model. Okay. So either way, as long as it's a reversal setup coming off of a previous day's high, previous day's low level, or a previous week high level, or a monthly high, monthly low level. The major key levels, these are what I am looking for, the reversal setup. So it's either going to be the dump coil pump or pump coil dump model, or it's either going to be the trap and shift A top V bottom model. Those are the two um, patterns that we have, and those are the reversal setups that I am looking for. All right, so let's take a look at the charts and go over the two trades that I took this past week. Now, the first trade was taken on Tuesday, March 31st. All right, so we know that day two typically expands the range. All right, so first thing I need is to check the major red news. So on that Tuesday, we had major red news out at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next thing I need is a daily signal. So at the close of Monday, there was no daily signal. I did not have an inside day or a closing breakout um signal. So what do? I just wait to see if price is going to breach a previous day's high or previous day's low level. So what did price do? Right out the gate, we can see that price breached a previous day's high level during the Asian session. Okay, price breached the previous day's high level, giving me my daily signal. All right, so that gave me a signal on the day. Now, what am I waiting on? I know that I'm only looking for a reversal setup off of the previous day's high or previous day's low level. So if price was to continue for a buy, that is not my setup. Okay. So we can see that we had our signal on the day, and we see that price was just making higher highs, higher lows, pretty much just in an accumulation phase right around our previous day's high level. Then they continue to break out, pull back. Then they go into an accumulation phase once again before the New York session opens up at 9:30. So now what am I waiting on? I'm waiting on them to break above. All right, during my timing window, I'm waiting on them to break above that previous day's high level. Okay, that is what I'm waiting on. I'm waiting for them to set the trap. All right, the key level has already been hit. Okay, it's been triggered. They triggered the previous day's high level. I'm just waiting on them to set the trap. Okay, hit the stops. So, like I said, they pumped it back up in that next 15 minutes, and we did have major red news out at 10 a.m. So we need to wait 15 to 30 minutes after the major red news. This was major red news right at 10 a.m. So 15 minutes later, where is price at? 15 minutes later, they're just sitting right here, coming back to retest the previous day's high level. Okay. 15 minutes later. Okay. Where's price at? Okay. Price is not showing me anything at this moment. I need for price to confirm the shift. That is what I'm waiting on. So as you guys can see here, that price came down, retested that level, okay, gave a strong pullback, right? 15 minutes later, okay, they gave me a squeezer top right off of a major round number level of 46,050, major round number, okay? It gave a tweezer top. This is a reversal candlestick pattern. This right here let me know that they were going to continue to drop. So as price broke down, all right, and broke this previous candle's wick, this is where I took an entry for the trap and shift setup, all right? Because we know what the trap and shift setup looks like. They break out, they pull back, they come back and give us a retest, putting in a lower high, and then they continue in the direction. So this was my trade setup. All right. So I entered as soon as price broke this wick of this previous candle. All right. That was my trade setup. So I risk about 40 ticks, all right, 40 ticks on MYM, and I target 200. All right. So this was the trade. This was a 200-point move. Okay. 200-point move on US 30 MYM. This was my trade setup. Price broke out, waited till after major red news, which was at 10 a.m. They come back, retest, all right, pulls back, puts in a lower high, giving me a reversal candlestick pattern with a tweezer top. And as price begins to make its drop, this is when I took an entry, all right here. And it was a nail and bell. Why? Because day two typically expands the range. And price was showing me that it did want to continue going higher. So I took the nail and bell for 100 points. And we can see that immediately, as soon as that pullback was over, price continue in the direction of the trend. Okay. So all it did was broke out, pull back, and continue in the trend. But I was able to take advantage of the trap and shift sell high setup. And this is the actual trade right here that you guys can see. This was my actual trade. All right. On my brokers. This is the actual trade that I took. And I took out one contract. One contract with the Dow Jones of 200 points is, a hundred bucks. All right. So that was the trade setup. The first trade setup that I took, and remind you that, you guys know from the previous video that I did below my account. So I started back over with about 70 some dollars. Okay. So this was the first trade right here. Now, the next trade, okay, was on MNQ, also known as the NASDAQ. All right. So that trade was taken on Thursday. So first thing, what does my process call for? Is there any major red news events out? So there were some major red news events out at 8:30. Okay. Boom. It's not in my time window. All right. So if anything sets up, then I can take a trade. Next thing, I need to have a daily signal. So at the close of Wednesday, the market gave me a closing breakout signal. Okay. Boom. Now all I do is wait for the market to get into my session. Now, as you guys can see, the price also triggered the previous day's low level, all right, triggering breakout traders. All right, so that is something that I need to see too. So they did give me a signal on the day as well. So now as price begins to continue its trading as it gets into my session, the New York session, we can see that price did break out, retest that level, and started dumping once again. Now, as price begins to head into my timing window, we can see that they went into a accumulation phase, and right at the open, okay, they pumped up, put in a higher high, right? They put in a higher high. Now I'm just waiting for price to confirm the reversal. Okay, that is all I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for price to confirm the reversal to give me some sort of reversal candlestick pattern. And as you guys can see, they pulled back once again. Okay, pulled back once again. 15 minutes later, all right, 9:45, right? 9:45. They give a candle that closed back inside of our EMA, which is our universal entry criteria. And next candle, boom. This is when I was in. Okay. I was in like right around that double zero level. So I got in somewhere around here, around like 811, kind of like pretty it's a pretty late entry for me, but it is what it is, so this was the entry and my target was closing price level. This was my target. So that was the trade. Now, my original entry, I did want to get in at this break of candle. Okay. I wanted to get in at this break of candle, but co-worker was talking to me, so I wind up missing this entry, but still I was able to catch the universal entry criteria where a candle closes back inside of the EMA, and I was able to take a trade here right around this level, and this was my target. And this is the actual screenshot of the trade. I was only able to get this one screenshot of the trade, but this is the actual trade that I was in. And as you guys can see, I was already up 100 points because 100 points on the NASDAQ on MYM is $200. So that is a 100-point trade. So those were the two trades that I took, you guys. Both were reversal trades because that is the setup that I'm hunting. Um, that's the first trade setup that I traded when I first found Stacy Burke. So I'm gonna pretty much like stick to that setup, you know, until the end of the year, just looking for reversals because all we need is one setup, honestly, guys. And that's the setup that I'm hunting. All right. That's the setup that I'm really comfortable with was taking the reversals as long as I keep my emotions in check and trade when I'm supposed to be trading. But those were the two trades. And with these two trades, once again, I was already able to hit my monthly goal. TP was smashed on both of these trade setups, and it was two beautiful trade setups, and you know everything worked out that the way it should work out. All right, so that's all I got, man. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If so, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and like always, work hard, stay disciplined, be patient, and know that your time will come. And be the reason someone smiles today. Be the reason someone smiles today. Peace and love. Have a good one.